Hi, welcome back to the Quarantine Show. I'm your host, Quarantine Kovac. Okay, I want to do a short video, a kind of review session for the quiz that's coming up. What do you want to know about the quiz? Okay, the quiz will be, I think it's going to come out probably on Wednesday, possibly Thursday. You'll have 24 hours from when you get it. I'll put a deadline in the email for when to return it to me by. And I know some of you have crazy, weird lives right now. Maybe spotty access to your computer or to the internet, whatever. Remember, you can take a pass on any of the final assignments coming up. And if you want to take a pass on the quiz, any one of the following assignments coming up. If you want to take the pass on the quiz, if you want that to be your pass and you'll just do all the rest, that's fine. No problem. Because after the quiz, you have a whole week to get everything else done that I'm asking of you by May 4th. Hopefully you've listened to all the lectures by now. Maybe some of them you listened to more than once if you had to. I've tried to answer as many of your questions as possible that you've been leaving on the videos. Let me just look at the calendar here. Yeah, so hopefully I'll get you the quiz by Wednesday. That way you can do it by, turn it in sometime on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, deal with it, whatever you need to in other classes or take a break, whatever. Then you have 5 days to, what else do you have to do in those 5 days? In those 5 days, make a short video for me. And I've described all this in other emails. Make a short video, do that book review, and write your final paper, get them to me. I'll be available via email and Zoom and however else you want to get a hold of me. Just get them in, get them done. Hopefully you've converted this and most of your other classes to pass-fail or credit-no credit as they call it. Unless you're a philosophy major, you can't do that, but if you're a philosophy major, I'm sure you're already doing great with everything I'm asking. So everything's going to be fine for this class. I think so. I think if you haven't already heard a warning shot from me, and you're going to be fine. Okay, the quiz. The quiz will have 7 or 8 questions. I haven't quite finalized it yet. You'll be able to skip one question. There's one, at some point I'll say, answer 5 of the next 6 questions or something like that. You'll want to review stuff about arguments, how to make valid arguments, because I might ask a question like, of the 4 approaches to philosophy and religious belief that I discuss in the lectures, which is the best? Provide a valid argument for your position using no more than 4 premises. I might ask something like that. In fact, I will ask something like that. So you'll want to know how to make valid arguments. The other questions, there will be very short answer kind of questions. I'll specify, in no more than 75 words, no more than 100 words, that kind of thing. A couple of you have emailed me questions here. Let me look at these questions that I've gotten from you about the quiz. Is divine simplicity meant to provide a basis of negative theology? Yes, absolutely. That is 100% right. Divine simplicity is through and through apophaticism. It is thoroughly negative theology. Divine simplicity is meant to tell us all the things God cannot be. My mentor, Brian Davis, once wrote this about divine simplicity. He said, divine simplicity is meant to put up a no entry sign to certain roads we might otherwise be tempted to go down when talking about God. Divine simplicity is just meant to preclude us from saying certain nonsensical things about God. Divine simplicity is what gets us out of the problem of evil, right? Because the problem of evil often stems from people whose conviction is that God is morally good. God is a morally good person. And morally good people prevent bad things from happening insofar as they're capable, etc., etc. You've already seen this lecture, I hope. Therefore, there must not be a God. Well, divine simplicity tells us, right, we've made a category mistake. We've gotten ourselves confused if we say God is morally good. People can be morally good. You, me, senators are all capable of being morally good, right? God is neither morally good nor morally bad because God's not a person, right? Personhood is something that's a this and a that, right? There's me, I'm a person who's either morally good or morally bad. There's this and that in me. Divine simplicity tells us there's no this and that in God. Is God good, thinks Aquinas? Yes, Aquinas thinks we can make the argument that God is good. Why? Because Aquinas, it's a complicated argument that we don't go into in this class. Because Aquinas thinks that anything that is in some way good. God is in the most absolute and fundamental sense. Therefore, God is fundamentally good. But not morally good, right? You can be good without being morally good. I have a good washing machine. Oh yeah. Gets the stains out every time. Oh yeah. I could kill 8 people, and my washing machine will get the blood right out of my clothes like that. Oh yeah. It's a great washing machine. Very good. Is it morally good? No, that's nonsense to say a washing machine is morally good. Nonsense. So, yes, divine simplicity is negative theology. It doesn't get us 1 inch closer to realizing what God is like, right? Remember, Aquinas says from day one, we do not know what God is. Aquinas never relents on that. We do not know what God is, and divine simplicity is not his first effort, his first stab at figuring out what God is. Not at all. Not at all. Okay, so great question. I saw another one in here. Let's see if I can find it. Here it is. Okay, here. Religion as a language game. Great question. This is really fascinating. A little bit advanced, so I'll try to keep it brief here. So remember language games? We talked about language games in class when we talked about Wittgenstein. Right. If I tell you hydrogen has 1 electron, an atom of hydrogen has 1 electron, well, what am I doing? I'm playing the science language game. And in the science language game, it makes perfect sense for you to say, is that so? Let me go find out if that's true. Let me go to the lab and see if what Kovacs said about hydrogen is right. Right? That's how the science language... But science isn't the only language game. This is what the later Wittgenstein realized, that there are other language games. When your parents say, we love you, right? You don't say, let me go to the lab and see if that's right. Let me do some tests and check that out. No. The family language game, the language game we play with our family, with our friends and our loved ones, is a different language game. And we talked about it in class, right? Sometimes best friends have a very peculiar language game sometimes, in which they call each other names, dirty names, right? I can get a random text from my best friend. They'll just say, hey, dog ass, when are you coming over? Right? The best friend language game can be pretty crude, right? On the other hand, right, if you play that language, if you use those same exact words, you can use the same exact words with a stranger, and you're not trying to make best friends with the stranger, right? You're trying to put them down. So, Wittgensteinians believe that religion constitutes its own language game. And when I say I believe in one God, I'm not playing the science language game, right? The question, am I right about the one God? That question is, it doesn't make sense. It makes no more sense than saying, wonder how if I'll test to see if my parents actually love me, right? No. People who say, I wonder if it's right what the creed says about the one God. According to Wittgensteinians, they're confusing the science language game with the religion language game. No, you better not do it, they say. What you do with the religion language game is you figure out what's going on within the game. What are the rules according to which the game gets played? If you go on the website The Onion, and look up God, they sometimes do some very funny stories about God. I think one of them was something like God admits in an interview that he doesn't know where gerbils came from. God saying things in this interview like, I got nothing against gerbils, I'm just saying I didn't do them, right? Well, why are these articles funny? They're funny because they're breaking the rules of the language game, right? They're breaking the rules of the religion language game, right? Nobody who believes in one God believes that God, during an interview, could admit to having made everything except gerbils. Not sure where those darn gerbils came from, right? See, according to Wittgensteinians, what's going on within the religion language game is internal to the religion. Just like what's going on in the family language game or in the best friend language game is internal to the family or internal to the relationship of best friends. So Wittgensteinians are a unique group when it comes to religion because they're the only ones who just straight up say, look, it's not the job of the philosopher to determine whether a religious belief is true or false. Wittgensteinians are always a unique group. I mean, there aren't many through and through Wittgensteinians. There's a small group of people who are just absolutely committed to Wittgenstein. I'm somebody who's deeply influenced by Wittgenstein, but I've been denied access to the card-carrying Wittgensteinians of America club because I actually do think it makes sense to ask a question about whether a religious belief is true or false. The Wittgensteinians think that we're just confusing language games when we ask that question. And so they say things like, this is a guy named D.Z. Phillips says this, the statement God exists is not a statement in the indicative mood. The statement God, remember, the indicative mood is not a question, it's not a command, it's when I say something like the cat is on the mat, the picture is on the wall, apples are delicious. Those are statements in the indicative mood. They say the statement God exists is something else, right? It's more an act of like a prayer, they say. It's an act of faith that we're engaged in. So if this is totally lost on you, don't let it worry you too much. Like I said, Wittgensteinian philosophy of religion's difficult stuff. I was once asked if you had to teach a unique graduate seminar on something that you don't usually work on, what would you teach? And I said I would teach Wittgensteinian philosophy of religion. So it's a kind of a high pitch thing for intro to philosophy. Some of you like it. I know some of you have told me you like it, and I'm glad you do, because it's really fascinating stuff. But I'm not going to ask you for a 500-word discourse about the language game of religion. Okay, I think that's all the questions that were emailed to me. I don't think anybody else sent anything in. I'll be around for the rest of the day, rest of the weekend. I'm not really planning to go to any clubs tonight, so if you have more questions, you can email them to me, and I should have time to get to them. I hope you're all well. Again, if you have a lot of things going on this week, and you really don't think you can get to this quiz, that's fine. Just drop me a note saying so. After this week, you'll have a whole week to get everything else done. I may have another opportunity coming up for you. I'd like to do something on Zoom with a large group of people. If you're somebody who cannot Zoom, who's just completely incapable of Zooming, send me an email saying so. Otherwise, I'll assume you can Zoom. I'm not going to require this. This will be a kind of extra credit-y thing. I just want to know how many of you are capable of Zooming. Should I do some group session on there in the coming days? Okay. It's Saturday. I hope you can relax a bit. Oh, ice cream social tonight. Go get some ice cream. Enjoy it with your family tonight. And see you later.